So performance art has a very long history, almost about 50 years. But in Pakistan, we don't encounter it as much. In fact, there are very, very few artists who identify themselves as making performative work. And basically what the definition is that performance art combines visual art with theater or performativity. So this work I thought was very relevant and interesting. It's called The Rope Piece, and it was a work in which these two people, Teshing Shea and his partner, they were attached by a rope for 1 year. Yeah. So there is a very thin line between art and life in performance art. But it's like living in an extreme situation. So one of the very basic things that tell us about performance art or where it comes from is Jackson Pollock's work, where instead of the painting that he's making, which is, you can see that it's nothing, it's just a few splashes, it's the idea of how the painting is made. Another work is Joseph Beuys, where he, during the Vietnam War, he said that he never wanted to set foot in the United States. And what he did was he arrived, and from the airport to the gallery, he got carried in an ambulance. So he didn't have to touch the floor, the American soil. He went there and he spent like a couple of days in the gallery with a coyote. There's a long story behind it. You'll have to read up yourself. But and the American Wall Journal newspaper was brought in every day, which was used as a toilet paper for both of these, the coyote and the artists themselves. So everything in the on the American soil was literally shit for him in that work, in the context of that work. So Iqbal Joffrey, he's a Pakistani artist, and he's also a lawyer from Harvard, and a lot of his work is about using his old cases to just draw and stick things on, and he sells them for hundreds of dollars. He's a very famous artist. Another work is David Aylesworth and Adnan Madani, and these two people hired this guy to tear away pages from a very important art book in Pakistan called Image and Identity and just give it to people. This is another work by Yoko Ono and another work by Sara from Pakistan, two different places, both female artists. And one of them is about giving people, the audience, the agency to disrobe her. And the other one is giving the audience the agency to apply makeup on her. And in both these works, I think this idea of like feminism and the idea of empowering of a certain gender or woman is very important. And that's where we come to my work. This work that I'm showing today is called The Machine Performance, and it was part of a show in November at PNCA, the National Gallery. So the work is basically where I don't feature at all. The work is these three semi-naked gentlemen placed on a platform, and anybody can sort of go and interact with them. So if you draw on the first person's back, can we play this? Yeah. You'll see whatever gets drawn or written on the first person's back gets transferred in a sort of like a Chinese whisper fashion onto paper. And these are the sort of drawings or works that come out of this activity. So they're somewhere between being symbolic and somewhere between being writing and drawing itself, because what writing is essentially, a coded series of symbols. And so the drawing itself becomes that, and either as a drawing or as a text writing. In neither case, you cannot identify what it is, but it still sends some kind of a coded message to your brain. You can, appropriate and say, oh, it's a word, it's a logo. And this brings us back to Jackson Pollock's work, which I was saying initially. The gesture matters. It's not important what is being made. What is important is how it was made. This idea of black ink on white paper, that is very, very important in art. And the other thing very important in art is body. And we ran out of paper. I mean, there was only a certain number of drawings that were to be made. So the person started to give the guy a massage. Yeah, I think the body, performance art gives a lot of access to the body. you can get away with a lot. You can place the body as the center of attention and body as a machine. So how I don't think it's okay to go and like touch a naked person's back, otherwise, leave alone give him a massage if you don't know them. And but in the context of art, there is agency placed on it, and there's almost this mechanization of body that takes place, which removes it from reality. So it's an abstraction of body in a way. And that's where I think the title of the work comes in, machine performance. How are we able to think about the body as a tool and as a medium for an artwork or art itself? So that was me in the previous slide, and I have sort of come up with a machine, a very long pen, to make art with. And the components of this pen are these people. This is also a video that I have come up with as sort of a byproduct of the machine performance itself. It is where you get introduced to the machine without the person who's going to activate it. Thank you.